preteens, Sheilas, and Bentleys. This is Mad Hatter Patrick. Well, since it is the month of June, it can only mean one thing. Welcome to the first installment of Spyro Month. All through the month of June, I'm going to be reviewing anything related to our favorite purple reptile, Spyro.
Spyro the Dragon, next to Crash Bandicoot, is one of the most recognizable video game characters of all time. But like most video game franchises, Spyro has drastically changed over the years, reboot after reboot. New storylines, origins, and characters introduced to the series. But the majority can agree outside the trilogy, some of his other games can range from decent to spectacularly bad. To start things off this month, I'm going to talk about one franchise that got the Purple Dragon's popularity back, Skylanders. The series was known to be the first ever Toys to Life game where if you buy a figure, they become playable. Of course, since this was a financial success, it results in other gaming companies to do the same. But I had to address one thing. I have never played a single Skylanders game. I was more into Disney Infinity and LEGO Dimensions. And even though I was a Spyro fan, I wasn't into the games because I knew nothing about these other playable characters he tagged along with. And that's because they never made an appearance in his other games before all this. And yes, I know they did add in some familiar characters like Crash and Cinder, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, so how am I going to review Skylanders if I don't have any of the games, didn't buy any single toy, nor have any interest in buying any of them? Well, I found the best alternative. I'm going to review the animated Netflix series.
Yes, there was actually a Netflix series loosely based on the games. What I mean is that this is supposed to be a retelling of the Skylanders franchise. So for this review, I'm only going to look at the first season of this series to give my first impressions. And as a person who knows nothing about the games, this will be a perspective of a newcomer.
Welcome to another episode of The One Reviews. It's time to begin Spyro Month with his new beginning. This is my review of the first season of Skylanders Academy.
In the world of the Skylanders, Spyro, voiced by Justin Long, is attending Skylanders Academy to become a full-fledged Skylander. He teams up with some unique characters to battle the forces of evil, most namely Chaos, played by Richard Steven Horvitz. And that's pretty much all I got so far. One major criticism, even for a Season 1 series based on the games, it's not as fully welcome to newcomers. I understand it's supposed to be a battle between good and evil, but there were still some unanswered questions about the world they live in, like what are the Skylanders, what makes each of them stand out, what's Spyro's role throughout the whole series, and what makes him so special. Even the first few episodes aren't really that good by themselves. They pretty much follow the same high school tropes that's already been done in other sitcoms, and some hammer in the messages. Like Skylanders Unite is meant to teach Spyro about putting others first before him. Anger Mismanagement is about Eruptor balancing his anger. Even the Crash Bandicoot crossover, Crash Landing, focuses on Spyro trying to be Crash, but he learns to be himself. Which they kinda already did that lesson in Missing Links. Thankfully, not all of the episodes aren't that bad or generic. There were some of them that I felt invested of what's to come next. This is more evident in Dreamgirls and The Whole Truth, where the Skylanders are now facing some bigger villains besides Chaos. And sometimes we do get some developments regarding the world they live in The Skylands Are Falling, and even the finale, Assault on Skylander Academy.
So based on the episodes I've seen so far in Season 1, this is definitely one of those shows that's made exclusively for the fans. Only they would know the references to the games along with the characters. And since the show believes that you already know these characters, I have learned nothing about them introduced to the franchise.
Like the premise, they're pretty much generic on paper and follow the same team archetypes. Spyro is the hero that wants to be a Skylander to do what's right, Stealth Elf is the smart girl, Eruptor is the muscles of the group, Jetpack is the planner, and Pop Fizz is the comic relief. We do get some development about Fizz's past in Pop Rocks, but the only team member that's more fleshed out is, surprisingly, Stealth Elf. She seems to have the most character growth in episodes Dreamgirls and Space Invaders, and it's like she helps glue the entire academy. There is also Eon, the Skylanders' mentor and the owner of the academy, with his assistant Hugo, who for some strange reason has a phobia of sheep. Speaking of confusion, that's exactly what are my thoughts on the rest of Skylanders. Everyone else in the Academy are just background characters that are only here just to make references to the games with no answers on who they are. Finally, you got the villains of the show, and they are actually the best parts of the series, with the exception of Chomper and Broccoli Guy, who are pretty annoying. The others like Wolfgang, Pepperjack, Dreamcatcher, and especially Golden Queen have interesting personalities, backstories, and are real threats to the Skylands. But the best characters of the series has to be Chaos and Glumshanks. Yeah, Chaos is too silly to be taken seriously, but thanks to Richard's performance, he can actually be entertaining and he wants to be taken seriously as a villain.
I forbid you to leave!
Well, I guess that settles it then. Sorry, Lemmy, what was that?
If Chaos or any other villains appear in the later Spyro games, they will actually be a lot of fun to battle. And for some reason, I have the urge to watch an Invader Zim episode. Anyways, since Skylanders serves as a reboot to Spyro, it's no surprise that the Purple Dragon got a new makeover.
For what I saw through the animation, it's decent. On their own, the designs of the Skylanders are creative and successfully capture the same models as their toy counterparts. I also give credit to the character animation being nicely done. It supplies some numerous squash and stretch, some good looking flying scenes, and even the action scenes are enjoyable to watch. There are even some great visual effects on some of the fantasy sequences and dark entities looming the Skylands. My one issue with the animation is that the Academy is not much of a magical place other than its school hovering in the sky, and the other places we see like Chaos's lair feel basic. And since this is based off the games, the first season seems to be holding back to its potential, where some Skylanders have yet to unleash their powers, including a few of our main heroes.
If you're going to make a show based on a video game, you should at least embrace the powers the characters hold, much like a Pokemon when it enters the battlefield. It could be that I don't play these games, but after going through the first season, I have yet to understand anyone's interest in this franchise.
The first season of Skylanders Academy is an average first impression whose only purpose is to be made exclusively for the fans. The premise leaves out some unanswered questions, the main characters are not that memorable, and it doesn't welcome newcomers nor influence them to buy the toy figures. Does that mean it's bad? Not really. To be fair, the animation is decent, there are some interesting episodes, and the villains were the best parts of the first season. Overall, I only recommend this show to fans of the Skylanders video games. The rest aren't really missing anything. But despite this, there is a possibility that the later seasons might turn out better with the good episodes I mentioned earlier. So it's likely I'll eventually come back to this series and review the other 2 seasons. For my grade on Season 1, I give it a C+.
Now, this is not to say that Skylanders in general is an average video game franchise. On its own, it's pretty good in both sales and reviews, but if you're going to make a show out of it, you should at least make it more appealing to both fans and newcomers. Fans can get an homage to the games and references and characters, while you can also introduce newcomers in a storytelling way. It may sound hard, but it can be quite easy. I'm Matt Harry Patrick. Now if you'll excuse me, let's shed some light on Spyro Month by playing a new game.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe me for a new review and other project every week. I'll see you soon.